Boss cut my pay in half, so I tanked his startup. This happened back in 2005 or 2006, early in my programming career. I'd just been fired from a job for following bad instructions to the letter, my fault for being too green to push back. I was a college dropout in my early 20s, drowning in private student loans and a car loan for my first ride, a beat-up, 4-year-old junker with 200,000 miles that was barely holding together. I lived near Los Angeles in San Pedro, a quiet little town, but the cost of living was brutal. Rent, utilities, and bills kept me choosing which to pay and which to delay. My last job paid way below market, so I was scraping by, living paycheck to paycheck. I was desperate for work. After spamming my resume everywhere, a startup called about my application. They liked it enough to skip a phone screen and invite me straight to an in-person interview. I was desperate, so I said yes. The address was in Woodland Hills, 55 minutes without traffic, 1 hour 45 with LA's infamous gridlock. No one else was biting on my resume, so I made the trek. The office complex was eerie, only 6 or 7 cars in a lot built for 50. I call the number they gave me, and Chad greets me like I'm his long-lost buddy, ushering me into an almost empty building. He says he wrote the software they sell, but it doesn't scale, and they need someone to rewrite it from scratch. We do the interview dance, and he offers me the job on the spot. The pay's slightly better than my last gig, enough to cover gas, so I shake his hand. I'm set to start Monday. Red flags hit from day one. My office tour is a 4x4 meter room I'll share with Chad and another engineer starting next week. I hate people hovering over my screen, it makes me antsy, so this already sucks. I ask why each engineer gets 2 computers. Chad says the coding machine has no internet for security. Total paranoia, there's no government contracts or sensitive data here, just Chad's ego. Then he walks me through the building to meet Richard, CEO, his brother, Eddie, IT guy, and the sales/support team. Half the team maintains the current app, 2 sell it to new clients, and 1 guy's already pitching the new version I haven't even started. Chad casually drops, "Good thing you're here, we promised clients it'll be done by June." It's February. I'm expected to rewrite, test, and build an app I've never seen in 4 months. Even as a naive newbie, I knew this was insane. I sit down to work, jumping through hoops to install software and access the code. When I finally see it, it's a nightmare, 40,000 lines of PHP in a single file, a mess of nested if statements and loops with 0 comments or functions. It's the worst spaghetti code I've ever seen, and I haven't touched anything like it since. Before I can ask Chad a single question, he says he's heading downtown to sell Lakers tickets and bounces. I'm left alone with this monstrosity on a gutted machine, no internet, and no clue where to start. A week later, I've documented about 30% of the code since no one else bothered. Chad's annoyed I haven't written real code, but I'm still deciphering his mess. He's barely around, gone by noon to sell tickets or network. When he's in, I show him my docs and ask for clarification on baffling code chunks. He brushes me off or gives vague answers. I'm working 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., partly to avoid traffic in my car's broken AC, which turns it into an oven. The new engineer, Big Bro, starts the next Monday. He's way more experienced and helps me make sense of the code Chad couldn't explain. Big Bro takes me under his wing, teaching me tricks and boosting my confidence. If not for him, I'd have lost it. We bond with Eddie over smoke breaks. I don't smoke, just need air, and his stories about Chad and Richard. Eddie's only here because it's easy money for simple IT work, he went to school with Chad. By April, I need a personal day on a Wednesday. I cleared it with Chad during hiring, and he was fine then. But when I remind him on April 2nd, he flips out, screaming that he regrets hiring me, saying I lack the skills I claimed and don't deserve my pay. We're maybe a third done with the project, June's a pipe dream, now aiming for August. Big Bro, Eddie, and I are grinding 12-hour days, but Chad's barely there. I'm fuming but keep it diplomatic, saying if he put in half our effort to fix his code, we'd be further along. He loses it, blaming us for lost sales and refunds due to delays, saying the only way he'll back off is if we finish. Big Bro stays silent, which stings. I thought we were in this together. Chad storms out, and I say I'm grabbing lunch. I feel gutted by Chad's outburst and betrayed by Big Bro's silence. Later, Chad apologizes for yelling, says my day off is fine. I apologize too, just to end the conversation. By June, Chad's a nightmare, yelling daily and bailing early. Big Bro and Eddie catch his wrath too, nobody's safe from his ego. Our most productive times are smoke breaks and evenings when Chad's gone. We've had to rewrite most of the app because critical logic was missing from the original. We're at 60%, and August looks impossible. On the first Monday of June, Chad pulls me aside. I brace for a firing, but instead, he says he's hired a third engineer. To fit the budget, he's cutting my pay in half. I'm stunned. Are you serious? I say. I'm barely paying bills and gas as it is. A pay cut means I can't survive, let alone train a newbie, which will tank my productivity. Chad shrugs, not my problem. You missed one deadline and will probably miss another. Don't like it? Find another job. The new guy starts in 2 weeks. He walks back to the office, leaving me reeling. That day, I do something I haven't done since starting. I leave at 5 p.m. I drive home in my oven of a car, stuck in traffic for 1.5 hours. I update my resume and reactivate job site accounts. The next day, a company contacts me for an interview. I tell Big Bro, and he drops a bombshell. He worked at this company before and left on good terms. He offers to be a reference. At the interview, the new CTO mentions Big Bro vouched for me, confirming my skills and why I'm leaving. It goes great, and by Friday, I sign an offer digitally while Chad's out. The new job's closer, half the commute, and pays way better. On my last smoke break, still not smoking, I tell Big Bro and Eddie I'm out. They just smile and wish me luck, no hard feelings. It's weird, but I'm so done with this place I don't care. I go to Richard, hey, I found a new job, so I'm leaving. He's shocked, why? We need you. I say, you guys thought it was fine to cut my pay to where I can't live. Chad said to find something else, so I did. Richard, annoyed, asks when my last day is. Today, I say. He pushes me to train the new guy, but I point out I trained myself, and Big Bro's handling it fine. I grab my backpack and walk out to greener pastures. Unexpected fallout, 4 months later Big Bro messages me, asking how I'm doing. I'm thriving and suggests a lunch call. Turns out, their startup imploded spectacularly. Part 1, Monday after I left, Chad storms in, furious, and orders Eddie to wipe my work computer, erasing all my documentation, architecture notes, meeting logs, everything. Big Bro arrives an hour later, asks Chad to log into my PC to retrieve my docs, and Chad punches a wall and leaves, probably for the hospital. Big Bro spends the week redoing my documentation from scratch, or so he claims. Part 2, I ask how the new guy handled the docs. Big Bro laughs, no documentation existed. He and Eddie, who'd become close friends and roommates, planned to ditch Chad and start a freelance consulting business. Big Bro decided his last day would be just before the new guy started, and Eddie would quit later to watch the chaos unfold. Big Bro never told Chad he was leaving, just didn't show up that Monday. Instead, he emailed everyone in the company a brutal exposé, why Chad's a terrible boss, detailing every screw-up with dates and specifics. Eddie ensured the new guy's email was set up to receive it as his first company message. Chad, enraged, took it out on the newbie, who read most of the letter before Chad shoved him aside to delete it. The new guy, rightly, quit on the spot. Part 3, with no engineers, the August release was a fantasy. Clients, realizing they paid for nothing, demanded refunds, some sued. Chad and Richard's company structure made them personally liable for refunds and legal fees, draining their funds. The startup folded. Tech note, that app was a 40,000-line PHP file in one loop, a tangle of if statements leading to more ifs or loops, no functions, no libraries, just pure spaghetti code. Critical logic was duplicated 7 times across the file, with nesting up to 19 or 20 levels deep. A coding horror show. Comments response, I'm blown away by the love for this story, spent hours replying to comments, woke up to awards and more. Here's answers to common questions. Why did Big Bro join the startup? No DACA back then, it protects undocumented folks from deportation. His old company, a more established startup, let him go for clean reporting despite investors and potential buyers. Chad overlooked Big Bro's status, likely to dodge taxes, which is why Big Bro and Eddie later started their own business, Smart Move. What did the app do? It wasn't government work or high tech, but the niche is so specific I'd risk doxing everyone if I spilled. Sorry for being vague. Why stay so long? First 2 months, I was terrified of missing bill payments. Lunch breaks were spent dodging collectors and begging for payment plans. Later, I stayed to learn from Big Bro. He was a pro and a knowledge goldmine. Why not rewrite the code from scratch? I was a green dropout learning to be a pro coder. The industry and task were new to me, and I had to figure it out on the fly. Chad was useless, giving answers like read the code or it's basic. It wasn't. Big Bro taught me how to dissect it. We ended up rewriting the app, but extracting the core logic was hell. It was smeared across the codebase, duplicated with slight variations. Halfway through, we found a critical missing piece, forcing a near-total refactor. The letter? No copy, and I wouldn't share it for anonymity. Imagine writing Chad, you're an awful boss, here's why, and listing every mistake with dates and details, so thorough it took a week to write. What do you think of this chaos? Would you have quit sooner or stayed for the implosion? Drop it in the comments, check out our last video, link here, subscribe for more wild stories, and thanks for watching. My take, this is a masterclass in toxic workplace revenge. Chad's incompetence and ego, writing unreadable code, bailing early, yelling daily, set the stage for disaster. Cutting the narrator's pay was the final straw, showing zero respect for his grind. Big Bro and Eddie's plan to nuke the startup with that letter was savage but deserved. Chad's paranoia and mismanagement earned it. The narrator's growth, from a desperate newbie to landing a better job, is inspiring. I wonder if Richard knew how bad Chad was or if he was just enabling him. What would you do with a boss like that? Share below.